Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast. On today's episode, we'll be talking about Rōki Sasaki and if the White Sox have a chance to sign the young phenom from the NPB. Much more, well, this and much more on the it's the CHGO White Sox Podcast. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, the full CHGO White Sox crew. That is Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can read his work at allchgo.com. The man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
Our CHGO White Sox community leader. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We appreciate our pal Sarah for producing.
Hi.
Hello. And Sarah was talking some crap earlier.
Smack. She was talking smack.
Some smack.
Yeah.
Sarah, did you have a comment about Rōki Sasaki? Because I think Orange Juice says Dream On Steven Tyler, and I think that's along the same lines of you.
Yeah. I mean, I just essentially said, you guys aren't going to get him, but let's talk about him.
Well, we're not. I don't think he's going. I don't think we're in the market for him.
Well, I saw that the Cubs talked about him, and then I was like, oh, the Sox are talking about him. They're not going to get him.
Great. Yeah. Sarah, who's usually the most upbeat person on our game days, where it's like, oh, the Sox can win today, and we're always like, no. I love how that she's immediately like, no, there's no way this is going to happen.
We beat her down.
We're not in game season.
It's a submission.
No, we're not in game season. So, yeah, we're just going to be, beating everybody up. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us in the chat. We appreciate all of our diehards as well. We'll try to answer some of our diehard questions, mainly Jared, who was asking about scouts later on in the show. But we're talking about
thrilling stuff.
Oh, it's a great time on this hot stove that has no gas. We have Roki Sasaki talk. Let's read from Bob Nightingale because, man, this was giving us a little bit of a kick earlier today. Bob Nightingale, on his story published today about Roki Sasaki, saying he's a Lamborghini Veneo with a sticker price of a Kia, a cashmere suit on the clearance rack at Walmart. He's the only player in this year's market that all 30 teams absolutely covet. Most importantly, he's the only marquee player that all 30 teams can afford. The name is Roki Sasaki, a 23-year-old pitcher from Japan. We saw last year, Yoshinobu Yamamoto signed for 10 years, $325 million. The big thing with Sasaki, that won't have he won't have a similar price tag here.
So if you can all cast your minds back to when Shohei Ohtani came over from Japan, this is going to be somewhat of a repeat of that situation in terms of the logistics, right? He is only 23 years old. He's coming from a foreign country, and he has not played in that professional league over there in Japan for 6 years. So he's the same signing rules as if he was a 16-year-old coming out of Venezuela, right? He is a international free agent, but his amount of money that he can make is capped at a very relatively small number. Obviously, there is the international bonus pool that each team has to draw from, and the amount of signing bonus they can give out differs a little bit from team to team, but you're not going to see that gigantic contract like Sean was talking about with Yamamoto, because he had been pitching in Japan for a while longer and was of the age that he could get that kind of contract over here in the major leagues. So that means that he is one of the top free agents in Major League Baseball, but is not going to be coming with the contract that that those type of players come with. So he's kind of the perfect free agent for the White Sox to go get right now. That being said, it's a lot easier said than done for any team besides the Los Angeles Dodgers to go out and say, we want to get Rōki Sasaki, because every single team in baseball can basically afford him at the exact same rate. The Dodgers will not have an edge because they spend the most money. The Yankees will not have an edge because they spend the most money. But any team in baseball can spend kind of the same amount to land this guy. The contest is going to come down to who can sell Rōki Sasaki on signing up to join their team. That is probably where reportedly, the Dodgers have the biggest advantage, and because of their recent history, as recent as just last offseason, of bringing in the biggest names, the biggest names in Japanese baseball in Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto. You look around baseball when the national writers talk about who else has a good chance to sign him. It's the San Diego Padres because they have Yu Darvish, who Sasaki is supposedly close with. So there are going to be favorites. The Dodgers seem like a big favorite if you believe all the reporting that's going on out there. But for a team like the White Sox that is in the middle of a rebuild, is trying to cut salary, but still trying to put themselves in the best position for the future, bringing aboard an relatively inexpensive 23-year-old potential all-star is about the perfect situation they can have. It's just that they got to compete against 29 other teams to get them.
Yeah, we've seen the White Sox lose to lesser teams than all the rest of the 29 teams in Major League Baseball. But as you guys are saying, this is the perfect free agent for the White Sox to go all in and let Roki Sasaki tell them, no, absolutely not. I'm not going with the worst team in baseball. You dumb. But Chris Getz and his staff have to definitely go after the kid, as Vinny just pointed out beautifully, that he will not cost a lot of money. I think under $25 million total for his contract with the team he will be signing with. So I think the White Sox, that's in their budget. Jerry said he won't go for 10 years and $100 million for a pitcher. This guy has that type of talent, but won't cost that much. So, yeah, with 23 years old, 100-mile-per-hour fastball, which has dipped in the last year. I think it's now 96. Oh, no. And a plus slider, plus splitter. I think that this player should set the record for all the teams, every single team, actually just putting a bid in for him. And, of course, he's going to go to the Dodgers eventually.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it seems set up. This is not only a Dodgers team that is the Death Star equivalent to a baseball team, but also they are scorned from 2017 when they didn't get Shohei Ohtani. That Shohei Ohtani picked the Los Angeles Angels that were just down the road by 30 miles because they had the DH and the Dodgers didn't. Other than that, he was going to be a Dodger for his entire career. We obviously saw how that played out. That's not the case with Sasaki. It seems like this has been a player that they've scouted and put a lot of effort to try to court, and it seems like it's going to happen now. The biggest thing is, when will Sasaki sign? Because, as you guys have mentioned, he's an international free agent and not just a free agent like Yamamoto was. This is from The Athletic. The deadline for the NPB players to be posted is December 15th. After that, there's a 45-day window in which the player can negotiate with 30 MLB clubs. MLB's international signing period also closes December 15th, with a new one opening January 15th. MLB teams have already blown through most of their international signing pool for this year. The Dodgers have the most international bonus pool money available, $2.5 million, followed by the Baltimore Orioles with $2.1 million. If Sasaki signs after January 15th, those pools will be replenished, even if much of the money is already earmarked for specific international players. So the bottom line, as The Athletic says, if Sasaki is posted in December and signs after January 15th, he and Chiba Lotte, the team that posted him, will make more money and ensure all 30 teams have bonus pool capacity to offer him. But it still won't be more than a few $1 million, well short of a top draft pick signing pool. Again, this doesn't seem to be like it's about money. And I do wonder if there is all of this investment put into him and money isn't that important. Seems like he's going to be a Dodger. And honestly, I expect him to be posted before the 15th. And here's how I think the White Sox get in on it. James Fox is very astutely pointing out that the White Sox still have $900K in their current period. They could trade those funds to the Dodgers for Roki Sasaki. I think that's likely what's going to happen, is he's posted before that 15th deadline. So it's really only a race between the Dodgers and the Dodgers. And they're playing with about, a little under $4 million with that $900K replenished from the White Sox. And I think you're going to get Sasaki on the Dodgers, and it's going to be a real quick and easy storyline.
I mean, the thing too that I've read, this is very interesting because a lot of, I find this interesting. I think a lot of people are going to see if he ends up doing what everybody thinks and going to the Dodgers. Oh, the rich get richer. They spend all the money again. This will actually be the opposite of that, because they will have by investing in Ohtani and Yamamoto, they will be able to reap the cheap reward of Sasaki. It's almost, it's less the rich getting richer and more so good financial planning for the future. When they talk about the Dodgers in Japan, it's a different thing. It's about the brand, right? I mean, think of what the Dodgers have done in appealing to Japanese kids over there, people who are currently growing up and playing the game in that country. Your favorite players play for the Dodgers. Why would you like any other team? I think we had, somebody in the comments say, "Oh, it seems like Japanese players go to a lot of West Coast teams." Well, think of the cultural connection there. When we were younger, Herb, the Mariners got a lot of Japanese players. Obviously, Ichiro, the big name, but a few pitchers as well. And it was like there were a lot of Japanese people living in Seattle. Yep. It makes a lot of sense from a cultural standpoint that's where you would want to go. Obviously, it's not exclusive. At this point, most teams in baseball have had Japanese players on their teams, but I think that the idea of that brand building, and don't think about what the Dodgers mean to you, an American fan. Think of what the Dodgers mean to a baseball fan over in Japan. It's probably a lot different, and that sort of brand building, and the fact that there's the Japanese ads on the behind home plate every time there's a Dodger game on TV because of Ohtani, because of Yamamoto, and now that's only going to get more. It's paying dividends down the line, and now the Dodgers can keep bringing in top-notch players like this, not because they just write the biggest check, but because they wrote the biggest check that one time, and it has paid off. That investment has paid off so handsomely.
And just to jump in too, Los Angeles has the most population of Japanese people, 1,770,000, and that's from 2019. Second is San Francisco, 66,000, and then New York, 56,000. So it's a huge gap of just Japanese people also living in Los Angeles there.
Yeah, and if I was when growing up, if I grew up in Japan, you would see what Hideo Nomo pitching for the Dodgers. Yu Darvish, I think, pitched for the Dodgers for a short, brief period. Now you have Yamamoto and Yu Darvish. And next year, when they start the season, it's going to be Cubs, Dodgers in Japan. So they're doing a great job of having outreach to that community. I think the general manager, Andrew Freeman, has been out there multiple times, specifically for Sasaki, to try to get him over to his team. So more than likely, I would say like a 95% chance he's going to go to the Dodgers because of them being the champions, them already establishing the Japanese culture and all the stuff that Vinny and Sean have so eloquently talked about. But if the only reason that he wouldn't go to a team like the Dodgers is that he's like, yeah, they've established my market and it's all good. And I appreciate what the Dodgers have done. I've seen them all my years. But what I want to do is establish something by myself. That's why I'm coming at 23 instead of coming at 25, where I could got a bunch more money at 25 if I would have stayed in Japan. I want to establish something here with my own name to it, and so no one says, hey, you're just following in other Japanese people's footsteps, and you're just part of a bunch of people. The White Sox, I think their last international Japanese player was his manager, wasn't it?
Well, now you spoiled it. Now I could have had a whole rollout. We could have drawn people in and then gotten with the whole this is why Roki Sasaki is going to be a White Sox, because Tadahito Iguchi's got a ring.
That's the only he was probably not alive or even
3 years old,
cognizant when that happened. But I'm sure Tadahito will say, "Hey man, Chicago's pretty cool, and especially on the South Side. I won a championship. I was unheralded, and I went over there and won a championship, and they love me to this day." It's like, yeah, the Cubs have 2 guys on the team right now. You can go there, but think about if you're a Japanese player. You got the Ghost Slider or the Ghost Splitter in New York. Then you have, at a different time zone, you have the Chicago people in Japan going. And then at late night, you have the Dodgers people from Japan. So you can cover the whole market in Japan with you going to the Central Time Zone and have a little bit more of exclusivity of your brand instead of being glommed onto the brand that's already been established in LA and the brand that's been already established in Chicago on the north side.
What do we see from WGN and Cubs fans? Flood the market, baby. Just get them all. If 3/5 of your rotation is just Japanese American, flamethrowers and Yamamoto, Ohtani, and Sasaki, I don't think that's going to be a bad problem for the Dodgers.
Whole country wearing your bright blue hat?
Yeah, right.
Sounds like a good plan.
We got more in the chat that we'll get to and more on this topic, but make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. And as Herb alluded to, Roki Sasaki has been with the Chiba Lotte Mariners since 2021, the manager of that team from, I believe, 2019 to 2022 was the great Tadahito Iguchi. So there is a link there. We got more on Sasaki right after the break, but we got to let you know about our friends over at Family Farms. They sponsor the deck out there. Our friends over at Family Farm, Their culinary journey is woven with passion, dedication, and commitment to crafting the finest bacon-wrapped chicken, a timeless delicacy that has tantalized taste buds since 1974. Join them on this flavorful adventure where every bite tells a story of tradition, quality, and the enduring spirit of family farms. And their tradition continues. You can now find the Family Farms Bacon Wrapped Chicken even easier. Look for them in the meat department at your local Woodman's, Mariano's, and Burcott's. If you're craving a taste of home without leaving yours, check out baconwrappedchicken.com or click the link for their Amazon store, which is also including their Rocky Rococo's Italian sausage, and to find out about their new Cajun Nation flavors, which become available with authentic Louisiana bite. So experience the flavor that's becoming a family favorite for generations. Visit your nearest Woodman's, Mariano's, Burcott's, or on Amazon at baconwrappedchicken.com.
We are sponsored by Chicago Sports Network, the new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They're also Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core, and they're bringing it to every corner of Chicago, across our 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more information how to watch Bulls, Hawks, and Sox games all season long. With Sasaki on the team, this place would explode. CHSN.
That's true. Let's kind of get into that there. Blank name in the chat saying Sox have to get Rōki, and also following up by saying you could sell him as the face of the franchise. Rōki ain't the face of the franchise if he goes to the Dodgers. He's also not the face of the franchise here because clearly Colson Montgomery is going to be the face of the franchise for years to come.
I mean, he could be good. I don't know why we're all chuckling.
No, he could be good. I mean, it's just because I'm funny, I think. But with Sasaki, like, I don't understand this. Like, the talk is that he doesn't really care that much about the amount of money that he's going to make. It doesn't seem like this is an egotistical person. You know what he probably really enjoyed in 2023? Being on the World Baseball Classic team and having Shohei Ohtani as his pitcher, as his teammate, and not having to pitch to him. It's probably a really good idea to be a competitor that wants to take the next step up a level and not have to worry about money because you are that talented. And you could just be like, oh, I'll just spend my early years playing behind the greatest baseball player ever. Worked well for Lou Gehrig.
It's funny. Great Lou Gehrig reference.
Thank you.
It's funny.
He's not well known,
Yeah.
The damn Wally Pip.
Yeah. It's funny, I think a lot of people think that, and not necessarily wrongfully, that, every free agent is looking for the same thing, right? Certainly this is a very unique case, but even in the cases that are more normal, right, where it's give me the most money kind of thing, different people do value different things. And obviously it's to a degree when somebody can add a few zeros to the end of your paycheck and make the decision really easy for you. But different people do value different things. And I think, the idea of maybe you do want to strike out on your own and be the guy to build something up. Heck, we just talked about that with Will Venable, right? Why wasn't he staying in Texas? Why would he come to the White Sox? Well, maybe he came out and said that he likes the challenge, that kind of thing. And then there are others. I remember back to when, LeBron James became a free agent and went to Miami, the idea of wanting to win and win with the other best people in the league and wanting to win with people who you consider your friends, right? I mean, I think that different people value different things. And while each team can offer a slightly different variation on that, it shouldn't be assumed that everyone's going to follow the same path. And so while the Dodgers seem to be the favorite, maybe there is a streak in him that says, no, I'd rather, be the guy in a place and take a team up from bottom to top. Or maybe he's just patiently waiting with a Dodger hat on and ready to be able to put the ink on the paper because he values being there with other Japanese stars who he knows and has a relationship, played with in the WBC. And also, the Dodgers might just win the World Series every year for the next 10 years. They're the best team. A lot of people might want to sign up to be a part of that party. So I think there are a lot of different things that you can look at. I don't know what Roki Sasaki values, but from the reporting, it sure seems like the what the Dodgers can offer seems to kind of dwarf what every team can offer. And again, we've got comments in the thing that's like, oh, haha, you really think the White Sox are going to sign him? The idea that the White Sox are not in a position to bring in the best kind of high cost players right now. Well, he could, the White Sox aren't just competing against the Dodgers in this. They're competing with Colorado and Miami and, Toronto and pick your team across baseball because this is a unique situation where basically every team can afford him.
Yeah, and just like you said, Vinny, I think this player hopefully has an independent streak. I mean, he came out years before he could have got big-time bucks. He had to only look back to last year with Yamamoto, 25 years old, got paid $300 million out of the jump. He could have just pitched 2 more years in the Japanese league and got paid and got broke off by those very same Dodgers because they have money like no one else. But he wants to come to the Major League Baseball currently, now, with making league minimum after the signing bonus. Like, not a lot of money for this pitcher. He just wants to compete, and I would assume he wants to win if you're going to make very little money. So, yes, the pitch for the White Sox has to be centered around you being the guy that brings the White Sox back into prominence type of stuff, or, you can be the guy. You're the single Japanese player in this market, and we can expand our footprint.
On that team.
We can expand our footprint in the Japanese market with the same billboards that Shohei Ohtani and the folks have in LA. We can expand it that way, and you can be that superstar. More than likely, he's like, I don't want to be on a rebuilding team. I came to America to win. I'm not getting paid a lot, so I'm coming to here to win, and you guys are not going to win right now. Now, the White Sox and all the rest of the teams have to go after him, like absolutely giving them that best pitch, the old school Bryce Harper in the United Center type of thing. But actually put down a deal. Put down as much money as you can at that time and say, hey, man, this is what we can offer you, and this is our plan to get you better. And if you're not good enough or we're not good enough, we'll trade you within a certain period of time, because I'm sure that his posting team, Chiba Lotte, would have wanted him to stay a couple more years, but because it's very unusual for him to be gone this quickly, because I think he was also free last year where they just signed him to another 1-year deal. But he wants to go here, and I'm sure he had something in his contract that says, hey, I want to get posted earlier than expected. And so he wants to compete right now. So the White Sox and the rest of the teams have to come up with a creative plan. They already got Will Venable, which is not as hard as they're going to have to get Roki Sasaki, because this job is going to be almost impossible for this player to come here. But the last thing I want to hear is, oh, yeah, we didn't try because we knew blah, blah, blah. No, you got to go out and let that man say, no, White Sox, I do not want to be on your team.
I also think we have to frame the money better. Like, yes, he will be making league minimum in his rookie year. Boo-hoo. The NPB average is $343,000. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a nearly $500,000 pay increase for him on a yearly basis, and he's going to get $8 million in bonus money. So it sounds pretty nice. Yeah, sounds pretty nice. Yeah. So I think there's also financial reasons to do this. It's not a ton of $300 million, but if you do know this backstory about Sasaki, like, his family pretty much got erased in 2011 due to a tsunami. Like, I think that he's looking at $1 million being like, oh, I will take that easily. Oh, $100 million, my brain can't actually, put that together. Like, I think let's take the jump up. I'm going to be taken care of, and I'm going to be around people who, my native countrymen who will understand the challenges that I'm going through, making that jump from MPB to Major League Baseball. And it's going to be easier because you are going to be the 26th man, probably in their eyes, on the reigning World Series champion. Seems like an easy spot to just kind of thrive in.
Yeah, I hear you. But I would also say that, like, you wait 2 more years. If you want to get paid, get broke off. Like, Yamamoto just got broke off. Real money. He just got paid. Like, what I'm like, millions of dollars is a lot of money. Like, I think that's what I was trying to say. But like, if anyone out there wants to give me millions of dollars, I can give you my phone number live on TV right now. But he will not be getting paid his value in the first contract that he signs in Major League Baseball. That's what I'm saying. Like, he could just stay a couple years and get real generational changing money like Yamamoto got, or like, well, eventually Ohtani got. But Ohtani did the same thing pretty much as he did, where he came over earlier than his time where he could get really broke off, and he proved his wares and got his money for the LA Angels, and now he's with the Dodgers. I think the kid wants to compete, and I get it. It's more money than he makes now, but it's not like earth-shattering a lot more money than he makes now.
It's more than double.
I mean, at least from a yearly basis, it's double. And
I want to go to Herb's house. Herb's apparently like, only $500,000 more than he makes now. Not even a lot.
The velour at Herb's house is crazy.
It is.
Lines the walls.
In the essence of real money, it's chump change. He still has to go to work if he gets hurt after this first contract. If Yamamoto gets hurt right now, he will never have to work ever in his life again.
Nice safety net, though. All right. Hey, Sarah, you made this graphic, so let's flash this graphic up. And blank name brings up a fair thing here. One red flag for him is that his velocity was down, as you brought up, Herb. Usually sits around 100, 101. Was around 96 miles per hour with this fastball. But a lot of people think it was a strategic drop for some velocity. If you want to flash his numbers that he did in NPB, this is, again, for the Chiba Lotte Mariners. He played in 69 games. Nice. Had an ERA of 2.02, had 414 innings pitched, and had a strikeout per 9 of 11.4, a walk per 9 of 2, and a whip of .883. Shout out to WXAV over at St. Xavier. Sasaki, I think the biggest thing that sticks out is pitched less innings than Garrett Crochet.
Correct.
129 in 2022, 2023, 91, and then 2024, 111. I hear all of this worry about Garrett Crochet and, why would you be giving him an extension? But Sasaki, let's sign him with no cause. No, whatever. Cares to the win. Or I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say.
A saying of some sort.
A saying of some sort that's someone has made up that I didn't. What do we make of the Crochet versus Sasaki, kind of the unknown, even with Yamamoto as well, who dealt with some injury concerns this year? What do we make of these guys that we really haven't seen the brevity of, 6 years, and then you're like Corbin Burns, where now you're hitting the free agent market and you're going to get your wares, your worth.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make the comparison to Crochet, the comparison is easy. Crochet's done it in the major leagues, right? Even if it's just been one season where the second half of the season he was only throwing 4 innings every game, he's done it at an all-star level in Major League Baseball. Sasaki has never pitched in the major leagues. If you're talking about, the idea of trying to land Sasaki for that relatively meager baseball team amount of money versus spending a lot of it on Garrett Crochet to extend him, I don't know. Garrett Crochet gives you a little more certainty, doesn't he? The guy's pitched in the major leagues. He's shown what you can do on a big league mound. I would think that investment you would feel just as good about that investment than trying to. You're not even really putting all your eggs into the Sasaki basket because only so many eggs will fit in there. But I think that teams should definitely still be attracted to the idea of Garrett Crochet pitching for them, the White Sox included, because he looked fantastic last year.
Yeah, that gave me pause when I did the calculations. The last 3 years, he's pitched an average of 111 innings each year. I know their games are, I think, only 140-plus games in the Japanese league, but still, he'll be expected to at least pitch every 6th day, and that's, I think, what the Dodgers' plan is, especially with Ohtani coming back next year into the rotation. You'll be having a 6-man rotation, but that's what gives me pause when the Dodgers went and traded for Glasnow and gave him an extension. He had only pitched 125 innings like once, and that was it. And you saw at the end of this year, he had more problems with his elbow. That's what gives me pause about Sasaki. Even though the money's not a lot, he will have to step up his innings pitch base to be somewhere you're like, okay, this guy is worth it, a top of the rotation guy. So the injury concerns this year, the drop off in miles per hour, he's 23, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's still 96, sitting 96 with a filthy splitter, which is, I think, his most devastating pitch, like most Japanese pitchers are. And so I would take the chance on him, but there are some things you're like, give me a little pause, but not enough to not pick him up.
Right. 129 and a third in 20 games, 91 in 15 games, and then 111 in 18 games just last year. And two, I mean, this is, again, a guy that is in minor league baseball in a way. This isn't the actual show. This isn't Garrett Crochet going out there and posting 32 times for 140 plus innings. This is similar to Noah Schultz. Noah Schultz as a 20-year-old this year, again, Noah Schultz is a year and a half younger than Rōki Sasaki. So, why do you need Rōki Sasaki when Noah Schultz is going to be the face of the franchise?
You guys Noah Schultz at home.
Exactly. But 88 innings for him. Sasaki in his 20-year age season, 129 and a third. But then he hasn't been able to reach that number again. So I do wonder, again, if the White Sox do have it right, at least with Schultz, this is just completely different thought. Just bringing up young pitchers. I do wonder if this slow build is going to be the best for at least Noah Schultz here, because you can kind of see Sasaki push it a little bit and hasn't been able to get back up to that threshold again. But we'll see what he looks like when he comes over to Major League Baseball, which seems to be in 2025. We're going to take a break. We're going to let you know about some of our great sponsors, and then we'll jump into more conversation. We want to let you know about our friends over at HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to making home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. The holiday season is just around the corner, and we're always looking for ways to spend and stress less. HelloFresh makes mealtime nearly hassle-free with delicious, home-delivered, chef-crafted recipes that come together quick and are less expensive than takeout. And whether you're craving hearty comfort food or trying to please picky eaters or looking for a calorie-smart meal plan, HelloFresh has all of those options and more available on a rotating menu of 50 recipes to choose from each week. So step out of your recipe rut and make fun, flavorful meals without needing to hunt down for specialty ingredients. With HelloFresh pre-portioned ingredients, it means less food waste as well. So go check out our friends at HelloFresh. You can get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free White Sox. Apply 7 boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals by just going to HelloFresh.com/free White Sox. It's highly encouraged to. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. My bad. The free White Sox thing really just that sounds like a what's it called?
You get a few pairs in every box, I think, maybe.
Oh, that for sure. But I'm thinking more like, grassroots, sell the team website, free White Sox.
Like free the White Sox.
So my bad. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free White Sox. Again, HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
The Black Friday sales event is going on all month long at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. That means you can score huge Black Friday savings on your next vehicle the entire month of November. But don't let these deals pass you up. Stop in today to browse their huge inventory of new vehicles, and right now, shop savings like 0% financing available on all new 2024 Jeep models. Or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey. With Ray's Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing right now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry in to Ray CDJR today and shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories, then drive home with more money in your pocket than you would expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, because they are the only team that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
Thank you so much, Vinny. Let's go to our chat. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button and hitting that subscribe button. We got a ton of great Chicago sports coverage coming at you. The Cubs talked about Roki Sasaki and their chances earlier today. We had a Bears reaction after that horrible Sunday night performance. So if you're looking to sit in the misery with the Bears team, feel free to check that out here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Connor saying, are the only Sox players that are Japanese Shingo, Tadahito, and Kosuke, not seeing any others on Baseball Reference. 81 Japanese players in MLB history. First was Manasori Murakami with a 1.80 ERA for the 1964 Giants. Mercy, I don't know if those are the only White Sox to ever be, or Japanese White Sox players, but we do know that there's one coming. Riku Nishida, Herb's guy.
Damn right.
From Japanese. Osaka himself.
Oh, man. I love him.
Him, Colson Montgomery, and Noah Schultz are going to be up on the billboard.
Well, and let's not
marquee.
Let's not forget, too, Sox players to go to Japan, because isn't Diane Viciedo like the best player in Japanese history?
I think so.
And I think
he's like 38.
Matt Davidson either went to the KBO or the MPB.
I think he's in Korea.
And hit a bunch of home runs. A bunch of home runs. And they say, and I was looking up because we were talking last year about Eric Vetti and how the KBO translates to Major League Baseball. It's like above AA, below AAA type of thing. The MPB is, they say, I just looked it up, it said it's like more of a quad A league where it's not the major leagues, but it's definitely higher than AAA league. So this guy, with the numbers he put up, will probably translate pretty evenly to what Major League Baseball is.
So Matt Davidson, in his last season in Major League Baseball, it was 2022, 67. No, sorry. Here we go. This is why you don't Google things live on air. 34 at-bats, 147 batting average, 216 on base, 324 slug.
Yeah.
His last year with the NC Dinos, Eric Fetty's
ABO.
team, 504 at-bats,
Mhm.
46 home runs, 25 doubles, had a batting average of 306, on-base percentage of 370, and a slug percentage of 633. That sounds like Matt Davidson after that Royals game.
Oh my God.
After that early, just
I was there. Opening day.
after his 15 games and to start off that season. And then Diane, what's Diane at? He's in the Japanese Winter League, JPWL. I don't know what the Central League. Okay, so that's the difference between JPWL.
He's in
and
the other
CL.
Japanese baseball league,
Yes.
not the NPB.
No, he's not in the
Gotcha.
NPB. He's in the Japanese Western League and the Japanese Central League with the Chinuchi Dragons. And what he had only 9 homers this year, 266 at-bats, 286, 358, and 455 slugging as a 35-year-old. Yes, we love Diane Vicieto. All right, there's your Diane Vicieto update. There was a question in the Discord from our guy Jared, so we'll kind of transition away from. When will Sasaki sign? Because we didn't really answer this. Do you think it will be before the 15th or after the 15th?
Well, I think he can get the most money if he is posted after December 15th. Or you can get more because of the, as we mentioned, the replenishment of the pools that the teams have to spend on international free agents. So that would make the most sense to me that he would wait to be posted until after December 15th. That would be after the winter meetings, but I believe he can sign as early as January 15th. That's when that opens, and that's official signing. They can probably agree to stuff as we see, you know, how often have we seen players from down in the Caribbean and Latin America sporting team gear and stuff on Instagram before they actually put pen to paper. So that would be my thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the day he's eligible to sign on January 15th, the Dodgers hit the button. He'll be having a press conference on January 17th immediately.
Very quickly. Hopefully that's not a Saturday.
It's just over. It's just done. He's already shipped over there, and he's going to have a great time in L.A. Dodgers and probably pitch in that first series.
Yeah, because Ohtani's not expected to, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, it was going to be 3 of the 4 pitchers in the 2 games, Dodgers Cubs, were going to be Japanese pitching in Japan. What an awesome thing. Ohtani's probably not going to be ready because he had the shoulder surgery after what happened in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if they add Sasaki, it can go right back to 3 of the 4 starting pitchers being Japanese-born.
Or,
Cool.
or, hey, maybe the Cubs sign him, and there you go. It's Imanaga
Either way.
followed by Sasaki.
Either way.
All right.
Don't mess it up and have Justin Steele be the starter.
Oh, Imanaga's from Japan. That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
No.
What?
Yeah. Did not plan this
No.
out. All right. Going to the free agents that are available, and we'll throw in Crochet. If you're a GM, how do you power rank the top 4? Burns, Crochet, Sasaki, and Snell. How important is it to sign these guys? If you're, let's say you're Brian Cashman Herb. Congratulations, you've had a job for 25 years. Where do you rank those guys in priority?
The thing is with Garrett Crochet, it's not just money because you more than likely would have to extend him. It's also you giving up prospects. Do you think if you think he is the best pitcher in this market by far, then it's worth it. I don't. If you just have to give money, and it's going to be a lot of money to Corbin Burns, I would give a lot of money to Corbin Burns. Yes, he's on the other side of 30, but he has shown you year after year after year after year that he's a top of the rotation pitcher, and the Yankees have nothing but money to throw away. And that's one of the reasons why they didn't get to the destination that they wanted to get to, is winning the World Series. So their starting pitcher is good, not great. If they go to the next level with Garrett Cole and Corbin Burns, man, talk about a murderer's row. Then you follow it up with Carlos Rodon as your number 3 or heel, whatever, baby. So I would say if I'm ranking, Corbin Burns is my number 1 this offseason. Sasaki, just because the little money you have to pay for him, and he's a top of the rotation guy, would be 2. Crochet 3, and then who was the 4th guy?
Snell.
Yeah, Blake Snell. Like, great, enjoyed your no hitter, but yeah, he's not going to be on my top of those other guys.
I mean, every team is in a different situation, right? I mean, the vast majority of teams out there would say, give me Sasaki, I don't have to pay him, right? But if you're a team that has ample financial resources to hand out to a free agent, Corbin Burns is a fantastic investment because he's maybe the best pitcher in baseball. Then you've got Snell, who's been fantastic the last 2 years. But again, going to cost you a lot of money. Garrett Crochet, very, very affordable, relatively speaking, but it's going to cost you players in your organization. All those different teams are going to have different criteria by which they go by. If you're talking about the vacuum, Burns is 1, Snell is 2, Crochet's 3, Sasaki's 4. But again, every single team is going to have a different ranking because their priorities are different. Think about what we've been talking about. We keep bringing up Baltimore, right? As a team that probably would really like to have Corbin Burns back. Has a new owner who probably would like to, would finally spend some money. They've obviously been relying on a lot of their young guys lately. Maybe they go out and get Burns, and then they love the idea of adding Sasaki or Crochet because they can afford it, and or because those guys are low cost, and the Orioles, can afford to bring in Crochet because they have all these prospects. Other teams might not be able to meet Chris Getz's asking price in the first place, right? So I think it's a different story for every team. But man, Burns is obviously the big item up there because he's fantastic.
Before we move on, every time I entertain these Garrett Crochet conversations, I'm assuming that this is with a contract extension.
I don't understand why that needs to be part of it.
Just because
it's
the return, for the White Sox. Like, I don't know why you would trade him without getting the most coming back for him.
It's 2 years of an all-star pitcher. It's what they just dealt in Dylan Cease.
It is, but I think Sean pointed out in the Discord, and you can become a Discord member if you go to CHGO and become a diehard. You have a guy with more certainty than what Dylan Cease had. Like, yes, it's only 1 year of starting, but it was a dominant year of starting where he was at the top of the league in most of the metrics and didn't get hurt. And the thing is, what Sean pointed out in the Discord is like Dylan Cease had the walk problem where people are like, he's going to walk the yard. Same thing with Blake Snell, but Blake Snell got outs out of those walks and won the NL Cy Young the year before. That's why he got paid more. Dylan Cease, it's thought of that he's going to go to free agency, and also that the walk thing was a bugaboo for some teams. With Garrett Crochet, I think teams are like, man, that's 100% because the pitcher's great. He's at a low cost. And also, if we can lock him up and he's willing and he seems like he's open to it, why wouldn't we? And I don't know if Dylan Cease was open to getting locked up to a long-term deal where Garrett Crochet seems like he's a little bit more. That's why I always, when I entertain the Garrett Crochet conversations, I always think about the White Sox would be like, I want the best back for him, so this deal for extension would be part of it.
And again, it's weird, too, because Crochet, this is his first year actually being a starter. We were surprised that he was even named a starter before spring training. And then with Cease, you've had, 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive years of 32 starts. Like, it's weird that there are more questions about Dylan Cease than Garrett Crochet because obviously one's a 6'6" freak who looks like he could pitch forever, and the other one's kind of like a small, not even lanky, but just skinny, guy. You think that Cease is probably going to lead to more breakdowns, but here he is just every single day going out and pitching. I think it's just foolish of baseball to not be having the same conversations with Cease. And maybe it is a Boris thing because I think he's a Boris client. Mm-hmm. But it does seem foolish that the White Sox traded Cease away and there wasn't extension talks with the Padres. Maybe that's because of their financial situation, but I would have been signing Cease to an extension, and I think it's just foolish of baseball to not be.
I would just say, too, the thing with Crochet, the delineation that I do want to make, last time there were Garrett Crochet trade rumors at the trade deadline, that extension thing was deemed mandatory by his camp, right? Correct. I'm not going to be able to pitch in the playoffs unless you give me a contract extension as a safety net for me extending my first year as a starter. I don't believe that that's mandatory anymore. No. Obviously, there would be interest on both sides in wanting to be locked up with a long-term financial commitment, but I don't believe it's going to play the same kind of role, and it was reported that it maybe even didn't play as big a role as we thought it did, but I don't think it's going to play anywhere close to the same kind of role in the actual trade conversations, right? The idea that a team can go out and get a 25-year-old lefty who's huge and great, and they can say, yes, we want you on this team for the next 8 years, absolutely. But that's something you do after the fact, I think. I think Chris Getz just says, here's the prospects you need to give me to get him. Give them to me or you don't get him.
Oh, right. You're
Yeah.
saying like a team would have to agree to an extension before a deal's made. Like
That
you're saying,
won't be happening this
right.
time.
No, I
Right,
agree. Yeah. I mean, it's your player now.
Right.
Make that work.
Right.
That's not my problem.
I think the Dodgers did that both with Mookie Betts and Tyler Glass now, where they signed him after the trades were made.
Correct. Right after, but yeah.
Right. Well, and I'm assuming too, like, oh, hey, we're in advanced talks. Let's start talking about an extension. So when we announce this, we can announce both. Like, I think it's just more, thought. Just if you're going to be trading the player, you also have a contract number to be given to the agent. You're probably going back and forth.
I just want to make sure folks are getting the clear picture. The last time we talked about a contract extension in a Garrett Crochet talk, it was part of the trade conversation.
Correct.
Whereas this time, it's just something you do after the trade is already done.
Right. Absolutely. And two, if he's trading in that situation, what else are you going to do? It's not like there's going to be prices driven up by other teams because only one team controls you. So it's a little bit different. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We do have a ton of diehards that are chatting about the White Sox consistently with us. You can join us at allchgo.com/diehard to join that Discord. You also get access to all of our exclusive written content up at allchgo.com. You get discounts on merch and events. The Blackhawks just had a great takeover at the United Center with an on post-game skate or pre-game skate.
Pre-game skate.
Mercy.
Yeah.
So very cool stuff over for our diehards at allchgo.com. Jared asked, so Getz fired a bunch of scouts. Was the goal to replace them? Have they been? Is someone new being relied on for research of the new players coming back in a Crochet trade? So just to work in this to all the Crochet talks, it seems like Chris Getz has been fairly generic with his responses about the changes being made to the White Sox. I know he brought up R&D when Will Venable was introduced as the White Sox manager, but it doesn't seem like there's been a ton of details to really sink our teeth into with the changes that have been made.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think we can only talk generally because I think the answers have been so general in terms of the remaking of this organization, the modernization of this organization. Those are the goals. And so I can assure that when they completely overhaul their international scouting department, for example, or you hear a lot of good things coming from the amateur scouting side during the draft about how committed Chris Getz is in terms of resources, right? Those are moves that are being done in an effort to make over the organization, bring it out of its kind of stuck in its ways nature, and make it more of a modern baseball team. That being said, the specifics of those questions have not really been addressed. I think you've seen scouts in general lose their jobs across baseball. Maybe part of what happened with the White Sox was in regard to that, in what's happened with other organizations. So again, which is a modern thing that's happening in baseball. So obviously he is trying to build an organization in which things are working the way he wants them to work. He's not just firing people and saying, all right, we'll see how it goes without him kind of thing. So I would have to imagine that if they held positions that were important to Chris Getz, he is going to fill those positions in an effort to keep those jobs being done at the very minimum and to have them start being done in a way more aligned with what he is looking at. But as I mentioned, teams across baseball have made those kind of moves to get rid of scouts. That might be a trend that the White Sox are following now. We'll see. Not a lot of specifics, so some of that is speculating, but that's kind of the best answer I can give to those kind of questions.
And do you think with your statement there that Major League Baseball as a whole might be devaluing the scouting industry? Like you saw Moneyball and kind of the back and forth there with the analytics people going against the old school scout people. Like, do you think Major League Baseball is just like, not no scouts, but hey, this is an old school way of doing baseball. Let's move into a more modern fashion with fewer people. And also that could be like a business thing where you're spending less money.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of a lot of those different things that you just listed, right? I think like most things in life, the best way to doing things is probably in the middle somewhere, right? You have people who know how to use computer models that are helpful, but then can also say, oh, but wait, I see that because I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm talking about, right? So the middle is probably where the best way lies. I think there is probably some cost-cutting things in there too. But also remember, and again, this is another thing that I think maybe a lot of people don't think about, there are a lot of different kinds of scouts, right? There's international scouts who do strictly, they go to Venezuela, they go to the Dominican Republic, they go to, where the Cuban players are playing, and that's their job. They're not, it's not like the same guy who's going to watch, the team that you got to play next week is then getting on a plane and going down to Venezuela. There's different departments. So you've got the international scouts, you've got the amateur scouts, and that's all they do. They go around and watch high school kids play baseball, watch college kids play baseball, and then you've got what they call advanced scouts, which are or pro scouts, right? Who watch the rest of Major League Baseball to help your team prepare for playing them, but also, like you said, and you'll see this in May and June every year. It's 15 teams send scouts to go see the biggest trade chip on the market kind of thing. So there's that too. So just because you hear scouts fired as a headline or a tweet or whatever, we don't know what area they're coming from. We don't know if it means it's part of a remodel, it's part of a budget thing, or it's just part of a new way the team wants to do things. So there's a lot of different things in play. And so that's why it's hard to specifically answer those questions.
And I hope in this whole scouting remake, they have more self-scouting. Just how are people getting us out? How are people shifting against us type of things, where we have an offensive and a defensive game plan as we are laid out in the Athletic article, where the White Sox were kind of woeful in that regard, like giving them more of a battle plan for that game, specifically going on that day, instead of just like, hey, yeah, this guy throws the ball to the outside of the zone. Your bat should play well here. They should have more of a, hey, every day, this is what you should do versus this pitcher because he's going to live in this zone. Your batting goes perfectly in line with this one. And that player who's on the bench should be starting today because his bat swing play goes alongside with that guy's pitching perfectly type of thing. Like more self-scouting to see how people are getting the White Sox out, because it seems no matter what, throughout the years, the Royals, the Guardians, the Tigers, the Twins just find ways to beat the White Sox, even if the White Sox are good, because they know how to play against them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen the addition of Ryan Fuller. Reading up more on him, you've heard things about the Orioles situation and their minor league development, where they tell players, like, they give them a point on their at bat, pretty much like Road to the Show. You gap a double, you get 12 points for a good at bat. You're swinging at the first pitch and you still hit a home run. It's only 20 points because, hey, you put a run on the board, but you didn't work the count, right? The idea is, did you have a good at bat? Were you swinging? And when you did swing, were you swinging at the right pitches? And trying to give players like instant feedback, like, oh, hey, you got a point for that because you didn't chase outside of the zone, you worked the count, you fouled off pitches you should have, and then you ended up, on the 8th pitch, slapping a pitch that was in the zone and getting a hit. Like, cool, we'll give you a point for that. Where if you're going up first pitch and you're swinging at a slider outside the zone and you get a double, luckily, like, that's on luck. You shouldn't be swinging at that. We'll give you a negative point. Like, hopefully the White Sox are able to at least give their players their own feedback too on, like, oh, hey, this is how I'm progressing from an at-bat to at-bat basis. The one thing too with Getz, it frustrates me a little bit, is there was the quote that you sent, and he said, I don't know how exciting it is to fans, but behind the scenes, you're trying to create competitive advantages in all areas of the organization, whether it be on the international front, signing someone but continuing their development. It could be a trade acquisition and finding someone who is undervalued or misvalued. How are we going to improve our swing planes against certain types of pitches? It shows up in different sorts of ways. You've got to get the team in place and technology to scale properly, whether you are talking about a major league club all the way down to reaching the Dominican Academy or an outreach to our scouts that are on the international front. It's about them being able to get everyone up to speed, acting at a swift rate to be able to move quickly and make good decisions. That's how you are able to separate yourself. It's really building an infrastructure that allows you to do those type of things. It's probably tough to get into details about infrastructure as well. Even to Chris's point, I don't know how interesting that is to talk to the media about that. It's something that is going to take a long time to see how it develops and fleshes out and plays out for the White Sox. And I don't think it's anything that in November we'll have the answers to, because I don't think they have everyone in place that they need to right now, with all the firings and all the upheaval. It seems like they're fleshing out this side of the organization, and we'll see how it operates in like June. So, I mean, yay. It's gonna be a long, drawn out process, like most things in baseball are.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's the whole point of this offseason, and hopefully for White Sox fans, it's only this offseason, and this doesn't have to be the story next offseason or the offseason after that as well. But the idea that you're not going to see them spend money on free agents because they need to spend money on people who work well off the diamond, right? People who work in the office building, people who are scouts and work around the world. That's what the White Sox are trying to do, is remake everything from the ground up. And a lot of that is behind the scenes. I think we've talked about like the iceberg analogy, right? The tip of the iceberg is the 26-man roster. That's what fans focus on. That's what fans like to see, especially this time of year. It's tinker with the roster, go sign the big free agent, make the trade. But everything below the water, the vast majority of the iceberg, that's what Chris Getz is trying to work on this offseason. And so when he starts his answer by saying, I don't know how interesting it is for fans, yeah, it's probably not interesting for the large majority of fans, but the idea is that it will put the White Sox in a better position to be a lot more interesting and a lot more exciting years down the road. The problem is they were so stuck in their ways, so stuck in the past, that this work had to be done, and it takes a long time to get done.
All right, cool.
Good to go.
All right, we're good to go. We do have a super chat from our guy Connor saying Joe Borchard contributed to the 2005 Sox with a 5 for 12 with 5 hits and 12 at bats and 2 doubles in September. So yes, we love Joe Borchard.
Got a ring.
Got a ring, and we're glad that he did. The other baseball news before we wrap up: Marlins hired Dodgers Clayton McCullough to be manager. We heard McCullough's name pop up, I believe, in August early from Bruce Levine. It seemed like the White Sox had their choice of manager, and I think that's the biggest thing. There was a little bit of a worry there from me, like, will the Marlins be able to woo the White Sox choice away from the White Sox? But now that the White Sox, during their candidacy or candidate search, wrote off McCullough, according to Jesse Rogers, and then went with Venable, it does seem like the White Sox had their choice, weren't interested in McCullough, and the Marlins got to deal with the candidate pool after the White Sox got their choice. So if there were any questions that the White Sox didn't get the top guy, or at least the top guy in their mind, I think they with over resoundingly did. I think it was very clear that Will Venable was the guy, and they got him. So cool. 1 for 1 so far in offseason moves.
Yeah, that's what still surprises me. And I had people like this weekend just asking me about, what the hell, Will Venable? Why did he choose the White Sox? Did they offer him? Have they found the contract numbers for Will Venable? I was like, I'm still flummoxed by him being the best candidate out there, and the White Sox targeting him and getting him. So yeah, there is no complaints on this side. And, a couple of years from now, if Will Venable turns out to be a bad manager, I would say it wasn't a bad hire, but this is just an unbelievable move by Chris Getz and his staff to get the best manager available. And it won't be poo-pooed by me for the move. His managing might eventually, but the process to get him and to actually land him, 100% great.
All right. To answer HBS in the chat, have you heard anything about Sox Fest? It is happening. Don't worry. There was some worry that for HBS that it will become a season ticket holder only event. We haven't had any news on where it will take place. Do we have dates?
We do.
January.
It's in January.
It's in January.
It's
going to happen, and they'll announce it soon. I don't know when, but there will be the 24th to the 25th. We haven't heard specifics yet, but they have a date. They're inviting all the 2005 team, so I don't think this is something that won't happen, especially with it being the 125th anniversary. They announced it; it's returning, and I don't think this will be a season ticket holder only event. So just stay tuned, and we'll keep you update on Sox Fest 2025 when and where it will happen.
It says the 24th and 25th of January.
There you go. So we'll give you the where soon. We're building the biggest and best community of Chicago sports fans, and we want you to be part of it. Join our CHGO Diehard community today. Go over to allchgo.com/diehard to sign up. You get access to exclusive written content, a free shirt of your choice, plenty of discounts, like discounts to the events that we throw at the United Center, Guaranteed Rate Field, etc., and a merch and access to our CHGO Discord lounge where you hang out and talk Chicago sports, whether it's White Sox, Bulls, Blackhawks, and more in our Discord chat. So head over to allchgo.com/diehard to join the program today. That's Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Herb Lawrence, our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. We will be here Tuesday through Friday at 4 p.m. live for you to talk all things White Sox, whether they sign Roki Sasaki or they don't.
I don't think even if they do, I don't think it's going to happen this week.
No, that's true. But what is going to happen? We got a Bulls pregame coming up later tonight, and there's also going to be a Bears After Dark show. And then tomorrow you got more Sox shows. You got Bulls and Blackhawks and Bears and Cubs. And then the Blackhawks have a show pre and post on the 14th. So that's the next Hawks game. Next Bulls game is tonight. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. For Vinny, Herb, I'm Sean Anderson. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.